Sam Warner of Physical Liquid, welcome to Irish Startup TV.
Thank you very much.
Sam, you're the co-founder and current CEO of Physical Liquid.
Yeah.
Who else is involved in the project?
There's two other co-founders. So there's Michael Garland, who's current CTO, and then there's David Feely, who's co-founder and main investor in the company.
And tell us a little bit more about Physical Liquid. What is it? What does it do?
Well, it's sort of evolved a bit over the years we've been here, but we're essentially an advergaming company, and more specifically a mobile advergaming company. And what that is mobile advergaming is using mobile games and interactive apps to market real-world products and services. And we've sort of come to the realization that advertising agencies and brand managers internationally are just now starting to put the lion's share of their budgets into digital, and more specifically mobile and mobile interactive. But they lack the in-house expertise of a dedicated game development team to create the original content they want and need. So we sort of exist to solve that problem for them. So we're sort of game development as a service for ad agencies and brand managers.
So you would literally create a game that would be suitable for helping a company to promote or advertise a product?
Exactly, yeah. And there's another trend as well with ad blocking, which is a current trend. You know, most advertisers have...
We spoke to Sean Blanchfield about this the other day.
Yeah, well, yeah,
it's a big issue.
Yeah, it's a big issue. I mean, it's wiping, you know, billions at this stage off advertisers worldwide. And it's, you know, traditionally you have banner ads on your apps or pop-up ads, and you can simply install some ad blocking software which gets rid of all those.
And this is on mobile as well as desktop?
Yeah, mobile as well as desktop.
Okay.
It's becoming an increasing trend on mobile, and the next iOS software release from Apple will include an inbuilt ad blocker, so you can simply flick it on in options and all ads are blocked and all apps.
Will that be on by default, I wonder?
I don't think it's on by default, okay. But it's
certainly a problem if it's there.
Yeah, exactly. You know, because you know, most apps on the apps and games on the stores are free, and they're just supported by ads, pop-up ads and banner ads. So it's going to be a major problem for advertisers, and what we want to do is try and steer them away from, you know, your only way of advertising on these apps is not just banner and pop-up. You know, we want to make the actual game or the interactive application the advert itself. So, you know, whether it's a car racing game for a big car company, or if it's a game about pouring you know, a pint of beer for a big beer company or something like that. So it's all about creating original game content that the user wants to engage with, but it's also advertising a product or service.
It's like interactive product placement in a fun way that you want to actually engage with.
Yeah, exactly. And it's from all our research, it's where the trend is going, and it's where advertising agencies and brand managers want to go, which will avoid all this ad blocking stuff that's happening at the moment. But they don't have the in-house expertise, so we're just there to help solve that problem for them.
You mentioned research. Is this a spin-out company?
No, we're spin-in to Nova UCD.
Okay.
So
can you explain that?
Well, the idea originated as many good Irish business ideas originate in a pub, and it was myself and David Feely, the co-founder, David's a sort of serial entrepreneur, and I was working for one of his companies at the time. And we were sitting in a small quiet pub in County Kildare, and we were discussing business ideas and, you know, what's the next great business idea. And I had a background in software, game and app development, and so we naturally got talking about app development companies and how we'd make a successful one. And it sort of turned out that the answer was sitting right in front of us in the pint of Guinness. So we basically decided that, you know, why don't we make a game about pouring the perfect pint of Guinness, because we needed something that would make us stand out from the competition, all the other game app developers. So we built this demo product which used your mobile phone. You tilt your mobile phone as a virtual pint glass, and you'd go through the 6 steps of pouring the perfect pint of Guinness. And we developed liquid physics technology and everything around this to make it look flashy. And then we decided, you know, we could build a company out of this. You know, this is the way mobile and digital and interactive advertising is going. So, you know, why don't we use this as a demo product and you know, build a company that builds these kind of games for brands and advertising agencies. So that's sort of where the idea originated. Myself and David came up with it, and then we brought Michael on board, who's been a software engineer for as long as there's been software engineers, since the 80s. And the three of us got together, built a business plan, pitched it into Nova UCD, and demoed our Guinness pint pouring game, and started up here in October 2013.
Right.
So that's sort of it all came from a pint of Guinness in a pub.
Brilliant. And it's scaled from there.
Yeah.
So tell us about your experience at Nova. How instrumental has that facility been towards your current position?
Well, we're sort of in a different stage of the company now than we have been previously. I mean,
you mentioned some pivots, or alluded to.
Well, yeah. I mean, we incorporated in June 2013, which is quite a while ago, and then we set up shop here in Nova in October 2013, and we sort of spent the first while sort of locking ourselves away and drawing the curtains and building technologies and strategies and business plans and financial projections and all that sort of stuff. And that's mostly what we've been doing to try and get the company to a stage where it really stands out and it is a bit set apart. And it's only now recently that we've sort of going, you know, here we are, this is what we can do. And we're engaging in a new funding round now. We've started pitching to some of the biggest advertising agencies in the world, and we're, you know, in negotiations with one of the biggest brands in the world. So at the start, for the majority of the time we've been here in Nova, we did sort of lock ourselves away, and we didn't really engage with all the fantastic facilities and help that Nova can give us. But this last year now, they have been instrumental, because we're getting on this publicity train, and they have great connections for bringing us into Enterprise Ireland. They have great connections even in the advertising industry, and of course, you know, things like this don't happen unless Nova UCD are here.
Yeah, so they've been incredibly welcoming and supportive of Irish Startup TV.
Yeah.
So on this subject of, you mentioned locking yourselves away, was that something that just had to be done to get to a certain point, or looking back, would you have done things differently?
I think any startup looking back, there's lots of things they would have done differently, you know, but it was, I think, a necessary thing to do, because we knew we couldn't just, you know, pitch to a potential first client with an idea on paper or a PowerPoint presentation. We had to go away and build some sort of amazing standout technology and actually build a product and say, you know, here it is, this is what we can do, this is it, ready to go, rather than, you know, going into a boardroom with a PowerPoint presentation, this is what we'll do in 8 months' time.
So to this point then, so because you had the domain expertise, because you had the concept, rather than looking for funding, your initial reaction was to just use your time and to build out a product and then look for customers?
Yes and no. I mean, we have raised a considerable amount of funding to date, and we're going through a new funding round now. But yeah, I mean, we had to spend the majority of our time, like, you get into any startup when they're client reliant, gets into this chicken and egg.
Heavily interrupt driven.
Yeah, you know, so yeah, so I mean, it's you know, you go to a list of clients and you pitch to them, and they all want to know, well, what other clients have you worked with? No one wants to jump into the deep end first with a startup, and that's the problem you get into. So we decided, listen, we have to build the thing first and go to them with, this is practically the finished product, are you interested? And so far, I mean, it's still not, there aren't dotted lines signed yet, but so far it's worked out as a good strategy.
It's been very helpful for you. That's great. So where to next then? You're nearly there. What's the next big milestone?
Well, there's sort of, as I sort of mentioned, there's two key milestones that we're looking at the moment. The first is our funding round. So we're going into a sort of joint funding round with an external investor in Enterprise Ireland. So that's going to be a big milestone for us, which will give us a lot of runway into the future. As I said, the next big milestone is getting the first client to sign the dotted line. You know, like at the moment we are going around knocking on doors and doing pitches, and we've got great reaction and very positive feedback, but they're all waiting for the first one to go on board, for, you know, sign the dotted line first.
Saatchi and Saatchi are watching, they need to sign up because you're going to be super busy.
Exactly. Well, that's the thing. I mean, that's what everyone has been telling us, what we believe ourselves. Once we sign the first major client, and they are major clients and major brands, you know, we should be able to stop knocking on doors and start answering the telephone type thing, you know. So work will hopefully come our way at that point.
Fantastic. Well, Sam, thanks so much for sharing your story with us today, and best of luck.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
In the future. Thank you.